Hey Scott, how are you?
I'm good. How are you tonight, Anthony?
Really, really well. I think we're starting our dry season here, so it's going to be like 18, 20 degrees here this week. It's just absolutely beautiful. What's the temperature in Miami, dare I ask?
It's 81 and lovely.
Let me guess, you have the air conditioning on.
I do. Yeah, a little warm.
Tough life.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Let me just put the comments on to make sure we can grab everything. Um, so, ladies and gentlemen, please comment lots and ask lots of questions. And also, I'll ask you a couple of times if you don't mind liking and subscribing. That also helps. Um, and I got a pre-message from Scott from Oz, and Scott is going to come up tonight and do a Deca talk like he did with the Dredge Gramophone one. I think that was the week you were away.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, and it's oh boy.
I can't wait to see that.
Well, the Dodge Gramophone one was incredible. You saw a little bit last week when Scott came. Yes, Andrew from Oz. So we've got some questions here. Scott, always full of great information. Hi, Scott. How are you? Adolf Herseth auditioned for Rosinsky in his New York apartment in 1947 and was hired as principal trumpet of the Chicago Symphony at 26 years old. Perfect man for the job. He sure was. Greatest orchestral trumpet player of all time. Most people would consider unbelievable. Recorded pictures in exhibition 5 times, 5 different conductors, including the famous Reiner and also the famous Mono Kubelik. And so brilliant that after he retired, it took 10 years to replace him, which is
wow. Huh.
And this is from our great friend Jack from Straight Talk with Jack Graham. Jack says, I took a trumpet lesson with Bud Herseth. That's his name. Even though it's Adolf, his nickname was Bud. I think you got bid there. It's actually Bud, of course, you know that. For 2 years while at Indiana University. What a great man. Oh, isn't that a wonderful to get a lesson with him?
Wow.
And Scott says, my favorite Herseth trumpet solo is near the end of Stravinsky's Song of the Nightingale. So fantastic. Well, he does that that one with the mute. That's hard. And then the very slow one in 3/8 time. It's very syncopated. I won't sing because it's going to drive everybody away. But I think that's the one you mean, Scott. Maybe it's a different one. But that's Song of the Nightingale. You have that one, hey, Scott?
On the Reiner version? Yeah, I have that, of course.
What do you think?
Oh, I love it.
I would say it begins like a scalded cat.
Yeah.
And on the other side is Reiner, which is Kijé, which is very, very good. The best. Yes, I use it for reviewing all the time. I've spoken about it lots on the channel. But the Song of the Nightingale is about 10 times harder to play. It's fiendishly difficult. Of course, the Nightingale is played by the flute, and it's a very challenging solo, but all the parts are very, very difficult. This is, again, from Jack. I'm the first like. Thank you, Jack. Thank you. Also says, Mahler's Fifth was fantastic. It's so nice that when you were at Indiana, Jack, you could take lessons from all these people, you know, in the area. Amazing. Anyway, we have a few things. Like I said, we have Andrew from Oz coming on tonight to talk about Deca. And I'll put the link up in a minute, Andrew. We've got Jim coming on to tell us all about his trip to Paris.
And I can't wait to hear that.
And in the same theater as the Rite of Spring premiere with all those fisticuffs and the riot.
Wow.
And then we're going to be talking about some film music tonight. So if you guys get your favorite film scores, in fact, if you start putting those down in the comments, your 5 favorite film scores. I mean, they could be electronic, but we prefer orchestral film scores and more of a classical style. And that would be great. Please, and don't be shy. And again, if you have questions or comments, please, you know that the peanut gallery makes the world go round. So please do that. So Scott, what do you have to say for yourself this week? What's been happening in the Pressing Matters world? And
well, as you know, I only have 2 days to devote to the Pressing Matters. So Today I kind of took it easy. I did get a little inspiration at the end of the day because I had been going through my vault, and I decided to seize
Your
on
what?
one
Sorry?
artist.
Your what? Your what is it?
My
The vault.
vault.
Your vault.
It's a sealed vault with all my overflow records. You know, things that I have mostly my audiophile stuff in here and brand new stuff, but I'm slowly categorizing everything out there, and I came across an artist that I think deserves a spotlight. So I'm going to do something on her.
Oh, would you like to let us know who it is? Did she ever record a classical album?
She did.
I will say that my brother is a massive fan of the person you're talking about. Let the audience see if they can figure out who it is.
Yeah.
But he said to me, because I've always liked it, but I think he's in love with the woman. And he said, Anthony, you're going to review the classical album that she did, which was classical on her name. And I went,
Right.
oh God, do I have to? And he said, come on, Anthony, you're a good guy. So I did, and I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, she's such a great musician that,
Yes.
and she did, that intro Tina from Carmina Burana, and she did some other things, and she did them very well. She was
we can reveal her name if you want.
Well, I'll let you. It's going to be your amazing video.
I wanted to kind of have an element of surprise, but it's Barbara Streisand.
Oh, well, she's a wonderful artist. I will say, I haven't received it yet, but and I'm kind of on Carl's coattails. Carl's coming on in a minute. He's in Singapore right now.
Yeah.
He's slumming it in Singapore on his 17th anniversary trip. And Carl wrote the review that we got the record live at the Bonsoir.
Mm-hmm.
From Impex, which was magnificent, and Carl gave it a great review. And
I'll have to read it.
Well, get Abby to send you one because for your video, because it's an amazing performance. Anyway, so I wrote it, did a quite a little bit of a note, and Abby said, I think Barbara's people were very happy with it. So she might send us a note, so that'll be great.
Oh, I want to get a note from Barbara too.
I know.
The reason I'd be very interested in the Imbex because I have the bootleg that was circulating for years while that sat on the shelf. So it's only a one record set, the bootleg of that performance. And when that came out, I was like, I didn't get it at the time. So yeah, I can reshoot my video.
Well, it'd be nice if you could include that Impex. It's really wonderful.
It would, yeah.
Scott, another full of incredible information. Anthony, that Boston subway noise in the 1955 Daphnis is the quiet section for Daybreak. You can hear the rails ringing in the 1956 prelude after the phone at the beginning. One of the things I find interesting is that all these recordings that have, like, for example, the Gets Go Better we just got, that Impex spoke about the dropout, and they spoke about the distortion in the bass in Corcovado, and they spoke about what was the third thing? There was something else.
Those are the two main ones, but yeah. I guess
and I was listening like a mad thing for them, and I couldn't hear them. I mean, I was so entranced by the record and the performance and the recording that I didn't. So Scott, you're right. If you're really, really listening, I hear conductors humming. Colin Davis hums a lot. I hear people pounding their feet quite a bit, but I don't usually hear that I'll have to listen for very carefully. So you must have a very resolving system. Wonderful. Okay, so we've got how about now we're going to show some records. I mean, last week was amazing because Angie was here, and my God, what a collection!
Yeah,
just unbelievable, unbelievable.
Is she due to come tonight?
No, I think Angie's going to. Well, she's very welcome to. I'm going to put the link up in a minute. She's going to Dallas for the show, Someone
Oh
has
yeah.
just joined us. Let me just put him up. And here he is, the amazing
Hi.
Ian Cooper.
Hi, Ian.
How's it going?
Ian, you
Good.
have a different background tonight.
Yeah, I'm at a house for babysitting for the night, so
Oh,
I
nice.
don't have my record collection behind me, unfortunately.
How are you feeling?
Better.
Did
Better. Not as,
did you test?
yeah, it was negative, and which is good. It's just
Jen?
it's still lingering cough, but that's about it. A lot of people have lingering cough for a little while.
Could you just I'm just gonna get Jan to get a record. Can you get the Mercury in there with the red one? No, that's not no. Keep going all the way. Keep going to the Grand Canyon Suite. No, keep going. Oh yeah, that's it. So no, that's not the one though. It's Freddie Grove Grand Canyon Suite. Somebody's just asked a question. That's good. So Flaming Groove listeners, hey Flaming Groove listeners, how are you? Are there any audiophile recordings of the Grand Canyon Suite that you know of? Yes, I know two. One digital on CD, which is remarkable. Let me just get myself up full here. One is the Telarc digital thunderstorms. So you got to be careful because during the thunderstorm, they really whack out the lightning. And that's on Telarc with the Cincinnati Pops. It's fantastic. If you don't need to spend money on a record, and you just want to stream it, it's very good. The CD is outstanding. It's just regular CD quality, nothing, no high res, but it's very good. But this one, Flaming Groove, is one I just got. Put it up. This is a Mercury, Indianapolis first pressing. The Eastman Rochester Orchestra. This was the first one I got. It's Scott did a wonderful video. Let me just take off so you can see the picture clearly. Scott did a wonderful video about Mercury and inspired me to do a Mercury video, which is coming up in about 4 weeks. But this is remarkably good. It's very beautifully played, basically by the Eastman Rochester Orchestra, which is basically the Rochester Symphony Orchestra with some very gifted students from Eastman, excuse me, and a lot of Eastman professors, including Joseph Mariano on flute, really famous people. Because a lot of people decided, I mean, for example, Joseph Mariano got asked to play the Chicago Symphony, the Cleveland Orchestra, Philadelphia Orchestra to play second with his teacher, Kincaid. And he said no, he wanted to teach at Eastman, which he did for 45 years. And I actually played Joseph Mariano's platinum flute, beautiful flute. Anyway, this is wonderful. Flaming Groove. I wish I knew your first name, but it's definitely one to get. They're pretty plentiful, but look for it because of the quiet opening. Look for a near mint version. It's fantastic. So yes, I know. But if you don't want to, just stream it. The Cincinnati Pops is pretty amazing. There we go.
I think Martin Gould did one for RCA too.
Do you have that?
I do.
Is it
You
to
want
have?
to see it?
Is it in the vault, or is it in the overflow room, or is it in the?
No, it's over there.
Can you go get it?
Yeah. Might take me a second.
That's okay. I've got Ian to keep me company. Ian, did you get? I got 3 record deliveries today, Ian. 3. Jam was like, "What's going on? What's going on?" So did you?
That's where you say I don't remember ordering that.
That's it. Yeah, I need that line. I don't remember. No, Jan's amazing. Tell me. So you're babysitting and
Yeah.
no
The painting in the background is called The Musicians.
I know. I love that painting.
Beautiful painting. Came out of South Africa.
You look like you're in a very, very nice condominium.
Yeah, mine's nice, but I like my backdrop better.
Yes, for the records. Oh, here, let's get Scott nice and big. Okay, Scott, you're up.
Martin Gould did a few stereo spectaculars for RCA. The 1812 was one of them. This is billed as a stereo spectacular.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So Flaming Groove listen's name is let me just put it. He said thanks. His name is Jack. So Jack, this is for you as well. And anything Morton Gould does, I think is touched with gold. I think he's an amazing musician.
Yeah. He does Wellington's Victory, which I think was on the Mercury 1812 as a side other piece, right?
Yeah, it's one of Beethoven's worst works.
It's a Shaded Dog. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
this is pretty good. Has liner notes inside too, because they didn't print anything on the back. But that's a good one.
Beautiful.
It's
sorry, go ahead.
It's engineered by Louis Layton. So
wonderful. Okay, so let me just get us back up here, and we have another guest, and here he is all the way from Singapore. How's the partying going in Singapore, Carl?
Well, pretty good. This hotel is quite nice, comfortable.
Just bring your screen down a bit, bud.
And I'm able to have a room to myself.
Just bring your screen down a bit.
Like that, or this
there
way?
We go. There, a little bit more.
A bit more.
There.
More
down.
What am I?
Or up?
What am I talking? Singaporean? There. Too much.
Which way though? This way.
That's
right there.
Good.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. How are you?
No, doing fine. Slept well, and it's the same time difference as it is usually when I'm back in Yogyakarta, Indonesia. So that's the same. The kids are still sleeping. That's good. All is well, and I'll be heading over to some audio things later today.
Oh, they have that mall, right? What's it called? The Adelphi Mall?
The Adelphi is kind of one main area where they keep a lot of high-end shops at several floors mixed in. I was there several years ago. It'll be nice to revisit and see what's still going on there. Yeah.
Wow.
It's very close to the Raffles. The famous Raffles Hotel is right near there. I'll probably pop in there as well. Get a Singapore sling or something like that. You know, have some fun.
So as it's your anniversary, is your wife allowing you to buy something special for your anniversary of high-end audio?
Well, as long as I get her something first, right?
Well, you can buy her the DAC, and then you can buy yourself a streamer.
Right. Yeah, I can get the DAC as long as it's made of diamonds or gold or something, right? Sure. Yeah, tomorrow's the actual anniversary, so we're gonna, go out to dinner and do some things, and the kids will be with us anyways, but so it won't be that sort of thing, but it'll be fun.
Just typing to Jim here to come on up. Since we got everybody on. There we go. So we've got a couple of questions here. Well, another one from Scott's amazing. Scott, I love your question. Dorio, Anthony Dwyer, the flute player, played a solo a little louder than normal to compete with the subway noise. Yeah, no kidding. This is the buck stops here. Greetings from South Africa. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's for Stefan. That's right. It's from South Africa. Would love to know your connection, Ian, with that painting.
The painting's actually at my parents' house. They went to visit South Africa. They went to a gallery. They saw it, fell in love, and had it shipped back here. And the painting, can't remember the painter's name, but I also love this painting. I'll do a close up. I'll do a close up towards the end so you can see it a little bit better.
Oh yeah. Well, look who's here. Loki Teo. Loki Teo's, I think Loki's in England, and so the time difference is always very, very challenging for England. Although I think Jim's fallen asleep because he hasn't come up yet. Come on up, Jim. Anyway, so Loki will never, ever come up because he's too handsome for the camera. But it's a wonderful resource and knows a lot about music, and it's always great to have you. So anyway, Loki, in all seriousness, thank you so much for coming up. And Andrew from Oz, it's my anniversary tomorrow also. Yeah, but you got some work to do tonight, Andrew. Were you coming up in a bit to do that Decca demo? And Loki says hi to Stefan. And Scott says, we're just going to go through some of the questions. Strauss's Death and Transfiguration, also known as Totenverklärung, was Carrie Ann's showpiece. His conception is the best. I completely agree. You feel like you lived your life in 25 minutes, Strauss' intention. Well, I just purchased the Deutsche Grammophon original source one, and I gave Ian my original copy. It's actually a pretty good copy. And I'm not sure that Ian's quite discovered Death and Transfiguration yet, but once you do, it's a knockout. He wrote it when he was 25. It's a remarkable piece of music. And Carrie Ann's is the best, I think. I certainly I know it's the best playing, and even better than Vienna Full with Rhino. Amazing. Anyway, thank you, Scott, for your amazing insight. Sorry, does someone have a
just to go back for 1 second? I did a little bit of investigation. So this painting, which people can see, if you put it bigger, they might be able to see it a little bit bigger.
Yeah, let me put you up a bit, Ian.
Sorry for the. Let me try to put it a little bit.
Oh, there you go. We got you.
Okay. This painting
wow.
is done by Isabelle Leroux. She's a South African painter, painted in 2014. She's been painting professionally for over 50 years.
And who did the painting on the left?
This one? Van Gogh.
No, doesn't he have a Picasso in there somewhere?
No.
Yeah, that was the Picasso lithograph.
Okay, let me just take you out there. Beautiful. So that's so that's the artist, Stefan. I'm not sure if you know them. This is from Joey Kalandiki. This is Scott knows Joey, right? Scott?
Yes, Joey. Yeah, hi, Joey. Welcome. I wanted to say one thing about Death and Transfiguration. I've had it on several, the Reiner and a couple others, but it wasn't until I heard it live that I truly appreciated it. I heard it live at the New World Center here in Miami Beach. It was great. It was great. Oh my God. It's true. It's like you lived your life in 25 minutes. It was awesome. Awesome.
Well, the opening is that timpani tap, 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 tap in this irregular rhythm. It's basically an irregular, weak heartbeat of a dying man.
Yeah.
And just as it's getting softer and softer on the timpani and the violas, there's an almighty whack on the timpani as he decides, I'm going to just try one more time to relive my victories and my loves. And it's incredibly powerful. So every time I'm listening to the piece for the first time with somebody, I always just say, okay, be very careful now, because there's this, and my wife jumps every time she hears it. And it's just this almighty whack. And the new Deutsche Grammophon original source gets it so well. Some of the carry-ins have not been quite as successful, but this carry-in one is incredibly successful.
I'm going to have to try that one. I think that'll be my next one. With
Gudjolianovic singing the 4 last song. She's, this is, my favorite name. Crabby, if you don't mind giving his first name, we'll be happy to do that as well. So Crabby Sauce says, hi, Anthony and the team. Missed your broadcast live last week, but watched it later. Enjoyed it, and the album's presented. Oh, Alan is right there. Alan, sorry, Alan. Thank you, Alan. I'm going to try and remember all these names. And here we are. And to the star of the show, James from man of the world, just back from Paris. I saw with a nice haircut.
Well, I've just given it a brush.
Looks good.
It's only 12:15 here. I mean, are you starting early?
No, we skipped. Oh yeah, we did the what's it called?
It's daylight savings time.
Well, it's a good job because I had no idea. I would have been sailing on at 2 o'clock in the morning or something.
Before we put you on,
it is literally only it's 25 past midnight here.
Oh, cool.
So,
well,
there we go.
We'll do is I'll put you on the section. We want to hear all about Paris.
Oh yeah.
A couple more questions and comments. Can you read that, Ian? Stefan said thank you. And Joey says, hey, Scott, great to see. And here we go. The best looking Armenian in Los Angeles. That's Armand Katsurian. Good looking and a great record collection. But I've got a few things tonight. I was so pissed off with how great and jealous of you that I've got a few to show tonight myself that actually came today. Anyway, it's great to see you, Armand. By all means, come up as anytime. And Jack asked, the 1983 recording, are you talking about the Death and Transfiguration? I'm not sure what year it was. I know it's analog, so it has to be before then, if you're talking about that. And this is also from Stefan. Interesting. This is to you, Ian. Could you read that, please, Ian?
So Isabel was born in Rustenburg, a town you visited a lot as a kid. That's pretty cool. Wow, she really does have great color in her paintings.
Wonderful, wonderful. And this is from Paul. Hi, Paul. How are you? Hey, it's Paul again. Hello, guys. Is the angel label that bad? Scott, what do you think?
Well, when I was sorting through my stuff and choosing what to put back in the vault, all the angels went back in the vault.
What does the vault mean? They're not going to get played.
The vault means, yeah, probably won't get played. But I was thinking about that very question today. I was like, maybe I should revisit them and make sure that the common thought that they're not as good as EMIs is true. But I think it's true.
Yeah, Paul, I think one of the things is they would get second, third generation tapes sent over because they didn't give a crap. They just EMI just sent them over, and done by independent press people pressing them, and crappy vinyl. And I've never heard an angel I've liked except for the one that the EMI angel, the all three, and HMV, the Klampera. Destiny Devonta Erde, which is very, very good. So yeah, I'm sorry. I wish we could give you more. Hey Todd, this is Todd. Hi, old Todd here in Roseville, California. Hey Todd, how are you? Nice to see you. I'm not sure if you've been here before. If not, welcome. And one more from Stefan. There is such a history of classical music permeating South Africa, both Dutch and you speak for the cunts, do you? Dutch and English colonialism. Enjoying the show. Thanks, folks. Well, we enjoy having you, Stefan. Anytime.
Can you go back to the comment a couple comments ago about the Romeo and Juliet?
Oh, from Scott. Yes, of course. Why don't you read it, Ian?
I need to. Anybody who loves Romeo and Juliet needs to hear about us with the Boston Symphony from '71. Okay, I'll source it out.
Well, I will say I was talking to my wife tonight about Svetlanov. Jim, I think you may have been with me at the concert. Svetlanov conducting the Philharmonia doing Romeo and Juliet. And at the end we have bum, 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 bum. Well, the Philharmonia played like angels. It was incredible. I think Jim and I were sitting in the first or second row at Festival Hall, so we got a good sound. And literally all he did with this, he just stood there and did this, like a one circular for the last 8 bars like that. I have never heard concentration on the ending of that piece. So yeah, I'm sure, yeah, Abado, I mean, one of my favorites. But Svetlanov was an amazing conductor, and he conducted some time in London. One of my greatest friends and Jim's, Thomas Bowes, a brilliant violinist. Seek out his compact disc. He's an amazing violinist. Was principal second violin at the London Philharmonic when he was just out of Trinity. And Svetlana came to conduct, and Svetlanov said, "We will not play, you will listen." And he taught to them for 2 hours how to play Russian music. They were going crazy, but he was a very specific guy. Anyway, I'm going to put we'll go back to some comments in a second. Where are we here? I just want to get that one off. There it is. Okay. So Jim, let's go to Jim. And first of all, did you take Clara out for some lovely dinners?
Yeah, we had some excellent dinners, I have to say. The food was probably the best part of it, really. Yeah. We stayed around the Bastille, where the new Paris Opera de Bastille is. And it's a very interesting building. And then we, of course, went to the Theatre de la Champs-Élysées, to hear Boris Godunov, which I wanted to go because it's where The Rite of Spring was premiered, and I'd always thought it was one of these little chocolate box theatres, you know, like the Opera Comique or, you know, or the Royal Court in London, somewhere, you know, one of these old late 19th century theatres. In point
There it
of
is right
fact,
there, Jim. That's
there
your
it is.
photograph.
That's us in our little box waiting. But it's a 1910 Art Deco theatre, which I suppose in many ways admirably suits the repertoire of Stravinsky and stuff from 1910, 1911, 1912. It was great to go and have a look at the theatre, and it was the original Mussorgsky score. It wasn't the Rimsky-Korsakov one, so you didn't have all the gongs and the tam-tams and the. It was a very simple. It was the Orchestre National de France, and it was a very simple. The Mussorgsky score is much smaller orchestra, basically just strings, single. I think it's single woodwind or double woodwind, and well, you can see it there. And actually, that must have been the size of the pit when they were doing The Rite of Spring. So again, it just goes to show the early Rite of Spring performances must have had fairly small orchestras. I have to say the production was Reggie Opera. Those of you who, you know, if you've been to see opera in Europe will know that they take every opportunity to try and do it either in modern dress or something. So we had sort of a rather confused Boris Godunov, really, because every so often things would shoot out of the wings and things. And at one point we had a cartoon of Putin and Stalin. And you think, well, you know, actually Boris Godunov was evil enough. We don't need to have Putin and Stalin thrown in for good measure. So I can't say I thought it was the greatest production in the world.
How was the playing?
The playing in the orchestra was very fine. It was very good. And the choir, the chorus, our old friend Zena, it was in the Toulouse Opera Chorus, very, very fine chorus.
Who was conducting?
Do you know, hold on one sec. I'll have to tell you because I've got the thing here. Right. The conductor was Daniel Izo?
No, don't know.
No.
How do you do?
Yeah, good. I mean, the orchestra were fine. Orchestra was spot on. You know, in fact, the singers were good. The guy who sang Boris was a chap called Alexander Roslovets, who is Russian, but obviously now they're all in the West because they don't want to sing there because they want to have a career in the West. And there were a few other very good singers there as well. There was Robert Scanduzzi as Piman, the monk. Lovely voice. Yuri Kissin sang Varlam. And yeah, it was, you know, it was sung well. It was sung well. But you know, when you have people come on dressed in white suits as if they were from, you know, a 60s TV show in the middle of an opera about Russian suffering, and he has like a rubber, an inflatable atlas that he's bouncing up and down. Like,
I know. It
doesn't do anything. It's like
looking at the Royal Opera House with the having a mini set, and he looks at it, he says, "Yes, but what does it mean?" it's Jan and I were talking about the other day about modern opera. You know, there's actually Facebook sites dedicated to hating modern opera and a modern production of operas, and it can be done very well. You know, if you get a modern kind of existential opera like or something, or some Wagner, but some of the stuff. Go ahead, Ian.
So I've got a fun little thing. We in Victoria, we have the Victoria Opera, and they have they did Wagner, they did their what is it? They did The Ring, and it was quite interesting. Right. They basically missed Fafner, the big dragon, but everything else was done pretty well for 3 hours. I mean, for Victoria Opera to do it, not bad.
Wow, yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's
Well,
very expensive, very demanding.
Talking of funny stories, I remember when I was in opera, you used to get these people who'd be walk-ons, you know, and they're called I think you call them supernumeraries in North America. And there was an old lady, and she was actually her name was Trilby because her great grandfather had invented the Trilby hat.
Oh, yeah.
And she was given a part of walking across the back of the stage. I think it might have been the NL, I'm not sure. And she stopped and she said, "Oh, excuse me, yes, but what's my motivation?" And the director said, "Look, lady, you're getting 50 guineas to walk from one side of the stage to the other. You know, that's your motivation." And you know, I sometimes wonder, you know, what the motivation is of some of these opera directors. But anyway, there you go.
Well, here's a question from Todd. And Scott, maybe your thoughts on the Telefunken label. I have 2 or 3 titles which sound pretty good to my ears. Are you aware of any gems on the label? Scott, what do you think?
I don't have much of anything on Telefunken.
I think it was the Consensus Musicus Wien, the early music group with Hanencourt did quite a few Telefunkens. Very good. I've got one brilliant Telefunken, Aurel Nicolai, who I think is the greatest flute player in the history of the world. Brilliant fill in the 50s, and then of course he had a solo career and taught very much for the last parts of his life in I think it was Freiburg in Germany. But his recording on Telefunken, I can't remember the name of the album, the Modern Flute or the Magic Flute or something, but it's with Aurel Nicolai, and it's a great Telefunken recording. I know the piano player is Gertie Herzog, a great pianist. It's wonderful. It has got Messiaen. What's the name of the fellow? Frank Martin. Some great stuff. So there's one Telefunken. And I think if you go for the Consensus Music in Wien, you'll be fine. Jan, one guy bought his kit up. We're gonna have to get rid of him real quick.
I've got this one on the Telefunken label, and it's not bad. I only have a small.
Hang on.
This is I have this box set on the Telefunken label.
Oh, Neumann. Look at you. There you go. Yeah. There you go, Todd. You like it?
I think it sounds pretty good, but like everyone says, to each their own, right? I could think something sounds great, but someone else could say, no, I wasn't a fan of it. Didn't
Joseph Kielbert, the German conductor, didn't he record for Telefunken?
I think everyone's had a shot at Telefunken at some time.
I mean, he did very good
get her up there.
In Phil, and I'm pretty sure it was on Telefunken.
Okay, Carl, I'm going to put you up. We haven't shown you. This is Annabelle. Hi, Annabelle. How are you? Annabelle, I heard. Annabelle, I've heard you play the cello very beautifully.
Yeah.
National television. She's still shy. Like a dad. Okay.
She looks a bit like Maria Callas.
Prettier, even prettier. This is from Stefan. This is for you, Todd. Telefunken press in Germany that area, good pressings. Nothing that I know of offhand, but tip-top pressings. I would agree with that for sure. Scott said, Anthony, do you remember how popular the Roussel Symphony number 3 was in the 80s? Seemed like every conductor was recording it back then. Yeah, underrated, like the Martineau symphonies, Die Ray and all those symphonies. People started recording them on BIS and other ones. Since CDs have kind of gone missing, all these recordings that they don't record that much anymore. I'm going to talk to you about a CD in a second, but no, I don't know that symphony at all. I played some Roussel, but and this is also opera was the hardest one for me, but slowly realizing its power. Boy, oh boy. Jim, here's an opera question for you.
Yeah.
Do you like all opera, or do you prefer Italian opera, or do you prefer German opera?
Oh, no, I like opera.
Beg your pardon?
I love Russian opera, particularly Onegin, Boris. I love Wagner. But I mean, I don't think I could sit and listen to 3 or 4 hours of it at one stretch anymore. It's too much. And I also love Britain's opera, Peter Grimes. You know,
Fantastic opera.
you know,
So
I like a lot of stuff. So I mean, I'm not one of these fanatical people that just thinks Italian opera is the greatest. I mean, yeah, Puccini operas are great, and I've sung quite a lot of them over the years. And they are actually they're really good to perform. I think they're better to perform than listen to personally, but because they do give you a lot of great arias to sing. And Verdi is a superb composer. I mean, he knew exactly how to write for the voice, and you know his operas are superb. So I don't have any particular favorites. No, I love the lyric stage. I love the power of theatre, and when you get good singers and a good opera and a good orchestra
and a good production.
I mean, I saw the best Boris I ever saw was Robert Lloyd at Covent Garden, '83. Zubin Mehta conducting the orchestra. I mean, Robin Leggett. It was a fantastic. It was a dream cast, and I've never seen a performance better than that since. So
Do you know Anna Moffo? Scott has a.
Yeah.
Yeah, a wonderful sample of Anna Moffo's extraordinary vocal beauty is Victor Herbert's "Kiss Me Again." After hearing this, I love it. This is going to put Andrew on the stage. Hey, Andrew, I'll get you in a sec there, bud. There was a comment here. Oh, yes, Audio Guy 52. Hey, Audio Guy 52. I'm not sure if you've been here before. If not, welcome. Do any of you have any of the esoteric vinyl releases? And if so, thoughts? I've got all 4 of them. I think they're absolutely wonderful. All 4 made the Audiophilia Dream List. Just want to put that up so you can see where you can see that. There we go. If you go there, you'll see them all 4 of them. They're absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And a digital step, but what they've done with it is miraculous with all 4 of them. I don't even have a favorite one. They're all so good. I was really surprised at the Tchaikovsky's 5th, the Mavrinsky. I thought it was going to be awful with the wobbly horn and everything, but it's magnificent. Really, really good. Ian, I've got Jack coming up, so I'm going to say goodbye to you right now, bud, because you said you'd come from.
No problem. I'll still watch.
Hang on a second, bud, because I love my nephew. I'm glad you're feeling better. You look great, bud. Let me just take that away from you, the banner.
Take care. I'll watch the live stream. Call me back if you need me.
Yeah, but don't forget. And I've got some. Auntie Jan has some as equipment manager for Audiophilia. Auntie Jan's got some boxes for you to lift. Plus, your new equipment arrived. Audio Icon for the review.
Excellent.
Okay, great to see you. Thanks for coming up, bud.
Take care, guys. Cheers.
Bye, Ian.
Yeah. See you. And I'm just gonna get our friend. There he is. Hang on.
Hi, Jack.
Hey, Jack.
I think.
How are you?
Good.
There we
Very
go.
good.
There's everybody. So, hey, Jack, how are you?
Doing good. Doing great. It was
great to
nice
see
and
you
warm
again.
here, too. Not as warm as Scott, but we had 77 degrees Fahrenheit here today. So,
That's nice.
Wow.
What's the temperature in Singapore, Carl?
Well, so far I don't know how well it changes, but it's probably similar to where I have been in Southeast Asia. Around 30 centigrade every day. It's typical.
Unbelievable.
Which is, it's getting high 80s, 90s, and beyond. Humid. But everything's air conditioned very nicely here. You go inside a building, hotel, everything very nicely. So no worries. And a swimming pool.
Sorry, Loki T.O. just said, I just got the Marinsky esoteric, but haven't cleaned up it yet. I hope you enjoy it, Loki. I was surprised. I knew Jim told me years and years ago when we listened to the the 4, 5, and 6 on the DG. And Jim says, you know, they recorded at Wembley Town Hall. I'm like, really? But actually, only the 4th was recorded at Wembley Town Hall. This is an amazing one. 5 and 6 were recorded at the Music Verein. And it's lovely, and Esoteric do a great job. I hope you enjoy it, Loki. It's I love it. The last movement, just before after the strings, bum 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 digga 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 dum. It's supposed to be bum 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 digga 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 dum bum, but Mavrinsky takes it at such a tear. You have no idea. Unbelievable. So I think you'll enjoy it. But Loki, please let me know, either DM me or I'm not on the jazz Discord lately. I've been so busy, it's crazy. So maybe get me, hit me up on the Instagram one, or just wait till next week and let us know. Hey Ray, how are you? No, we started. It's in the civilized world, not the antipodes. In the civilized world, we went back an hour. Oh, no, spring. Thank you, Jan. We went forward an hour. So in Asia, is it forward an hour as well, or no? It's the same.
Wait, in the time? No, it's 12 hours later here than New York City. In Singapore, and from it because even though there's the daylight savings time, Singapore is 1 hour later than Indonesia, most of Indonesia. So I'm as if I wasn't leaving Indonesia, but when I go back, then when I get on, it would be 7 in the morning for me, starting next week. Okay, so cool. I had to do the calculation carefully, not make a mistake, but no change because Singapore is 1 hour.
So anyway, no, Ray,
it doesn't have daylight savings time, but it just happens to always be 1 hour later than
5 p.m. PST. We started. Anyway, sorry about that, Ray. You can catch the rest on the rerun, as they call it. Now, if you don't mind, guys, we're going to get to some film music in a minute and also show some records. But before we do that, Andrew from Oz is, I think you're muted, Andrew. There he is going to do a guide to collecting Decca. So let's sit back and enjoy that. Let me put you up. How are you, Andrew?
I'm good, thanks, Anthony. It's steamy 31 degrees here. We're having an Indian summer. So it's normally about 20 this time of the year, but Melbourne and Adelaide have been experiencing 40 degrees temperatures and wildfires. So it's been pretty bad, unfortunately. So today I thought we'd talk about...
Andrew, I have a quick question for you.
Oh. Yep.
Who has a question? Carl, did you have a question?
I did here, just real quick. I did. About Andrew. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, just, when I see Andrew from Oz, the first thing I think about is the Smothers Brothers show from the 1960s when they brought on The Who for the first time in the United States. Does that ring a bell to you at all?
No, that's a bit before my time. So.
Oh, because the members were brought out.
Yeah, I don't know anything about. I don't know anything about rock. I don't know anything about rock at all, I'm afraid. So.
Okay, someone else may remember why I brought it up. Okay.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Okay, so I'm going to just present about the Decca labels. So Decca started making LPs in the 1950s and the stereo LPs in 1958. The very first ones that came out were the 2000 series, which are very highly prized, and are the famous wideband. So I'm going to go through because there's a number of iterations of these labels. So the first one is called ED1. So this was the first wideband label, and you'll notice in the top left-hand corner, it has original recording, which separates it from the later versions of it. Also had this groove. I don't know if that comes up well here. And so therefore refers to as the groove pressing. Some of the early ones had it towards the edge of the label, but these are very rare and they're called pancake pressings. The SXL 2000 series are all ED1s, but some of the 6000 series which followed it also have the ED1 label. The highest ED1 label on an SXL 6000 series is 6363 to my knowledge. That was issued, interesting enough, in 1968, so 10 years after they started issuing the wideband labels. But funnily enough, some of the lower SXL 6000 series labels don't have an ED1 label, but have an ED2 label. So moving to the ED2, this was the second version of it. And the difference here was that now it says made in England instead of original pressing. Other than that, it remains the same. It still has the FFSS logo at the top, Decca without it being in a box, and the famous wideband. Some SXL 2000 series and many of the SXL 6000 series ED2 actually are not the original label, as the original label was an ED1. So there were obviously repressings where they put the second label on. But there are obviously many SXL2 labels that the ED2 version with the made in England is the original label. All SXL widebands from XXL 6364 onwards, it's the original label. The third is the ED3 version, and the groove pressing is now missing. That's the major difference. Once again, there was this intermingling of ED2 and ED3 labels. So if you have an SXL 2000 series with an ED3 label, then it's actually a third pressing of it. The lowest number original ED3, so that's the original pressing, is 6355, and the last ED3 wideband is 6448. The next is the narrowband version, which certainly in Australia seems to be the most common we see. Sometimes it's referred to as ED4, but I refer to it here as the narrowband pressing. The obviously two big differences is now Decca is in its little cartouche box. The band itself is narrower, and the FFSS logo that used to be at the top is now in the band itself. It continues to have the Made in England label on it, but it's a smaller print. From 79, Decca moved its pressing plant to Holland.
Boo.
And you now see it says made in Holland at the bottom. There were some pressings that were released in 79 that still are English pressings, but from 1980 onwards, they're all from Holland. I know that Anthony's going to present on London bluebacks, but this is an example of a Decca blueback. There weren't very many of them. They were only involved the early SXL 2000 series, and the last one that I know of is SXL 2115, but very similar colouring to the London bluebacks. There was also an SET series. These were predominantly opera boxes. The wideband label is essentially the same as others, other than it now says SET rather than SXL, but you still see the FFSS logo, the Decca without a box, and the wideband. The only difference is the color, because they have this purple color, but some of them also released in silver. Now, there's an interesting issue, and I know this has been discussed before about the nature of the Ace of Diamonds. So this was a reissue series, and many people commented it actually seemed very good. So from my research, I actually discovered that originally they were actually unsold SXL 2000 series that were relabeled, which is very interesting. Others were mono recordings where they did do a stereo recording at the same time, but was never released in stereo. And the early ones had the groove, so they're coming from obviously the same pressing plant, which makes sense that if they were earlier SXLs in the pressing series, that they actually are the same pressing. By 1968, though, the groove had gone, and they had this slightly smaller label than before. I always like this little logo with the DECCA on it. Now, there was also another version which was mainly for their opera recordings, a bit like the SET version is this GOS version of it. But there were a few original recordings, and there were also some monos that were reissued as stereo. So there's this Antoinette recording of Stravinsky, and there's a Dvorak played by the Janacek Quartet. Finally, we come to the Eclipse label, which has a bit of a notorious reputation. And this is because originally they reissued mono recordings in simulated stereo. And you note on the back in tiny sort of 6 font writing, there's a little arrow that says this is simulated stereo. But there are actually other recordings. Some of them are actually original recordings, and others are this sort of mono and stereo recordings issued in the mono area that were reissued as stereo. So the ones that don't have the simulated stereo on the back can be quite good. And with that, I'll say thank you. This is a picture of the lake near our house.
That's wonderful, Andrew. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was great.
Amazing. For your next miracle, we want what do we have?
I was going to do the Argo because there was a question last week about Argo.
That would be great, especially with Dutch pressings.
I've worked out why I've worked out from my research why the oval and the oblong ones are different. And it's consistent with what Scott says, that the oval ones sound better, and but maybe a bit noisier, and the later ones don't sound as good. There's actually a technical reason for that, but I won't spoil the presentation.
Don't spoil it. No spoilers. Andrew, thank you so much. Wonderful. And the great thing about your Deutsche Grammophon one and this one, and hopefully the Argo one, they're in perpetuity because they're going to be up there on the channel, and people will be able to rediscover them.
Can I ask a quick question of Andrew?
Yes, please.
So with the Ace of Diamonds label, right? The American equivalent, which are UK press as well, is the Stereo Treasuries, right?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with those?
Yeah, I'm aware of them. I mean, we obviously don't have them in Australia.
I wonder if that carryover because I have some with the Groove label, the earlier ones, and I wonder if those could be, if they were just pressed.
So we know that from my presentation that if it's got a groove in it, then it was pressed early, right? So from 68 onwards, there's no more groove anymore. So it means that pressing has changed. So if there's a groove in them, then they must have been pressed at that earlier time point.
Could they be original SXLs?
They could well be original XXLs. I mean, the matrix numbers are the same.
Right.
So if you check it with the matrix number, you'll find that they're the same. So if it's a 2000, they've just stuck a label on it and sent it to America, then it'll have the same matrix number on it. Obviously, it's probably going to be a later. It's going to be a later series, or a later metalwork. But some of these, particularly I was going to use the word esoteric. Some of these rare types of recordings that didn't sell very well, there probably were not very many, reruns. So they could be of very high quality.
Andrew, can I just make a comment on the Ace of Diamonds? I mean, I've got a few they're installed at the moment, but what I noticed about Ace of Diamonds was that Decca seemed to just repackage the Ace of Clubs. But because the Ace of Clubs were in like two-tone sleeves and things, what they did was they repackaged them, put the Ace of Diamonds label on them, and then they reissued them in a very snazzy sleeve, with a modern contemporary painting or something. I've got the Carrian Vienna Philharmonic recordings he made, which they reissued on Ace of Diamonds. They're really good pressings, I think. But they're much more colourful. They're much more moving into the mid 60s, I suppose. Whereas the original Ace of Clubs were a bit dowdy and black and white, really.
Yeah, those covers are pretty tired.
So,
Yeah.
a gentleman here, Ira, I'm not sure what your name is. Hi, how are you? Here's a question. What about L'Oiseau Libre?
I only have like a
Very-
handful.
I've got quite a few. They're very good.
Yeah.
Oh, Decca, right? Oh, Decca House.
Yeah, it's a yeah. I think it might have come under them when they came under Polydor from memory.
Hey, Christopher. Christopher Cordova is a question for the panel or comment. I recently purchased a Sheffield Lab director disc. Wasn't really impressed with the sound. Are these supposed to be somewhat audiophile? Gents, what do you think?
Which one was it? That's what I'm curious about, because some of them are really excellent, but a couple of are clunkers.
Yeah, it's anytime you have a directed disc, it's terrifying. I don't care. I know the LA Phil did a lot of them, and they're great players, and they can play it in their sleep. But when that red light goes on, something
Right.
happens to your body. It really does. And basically, the producers there saying we have one shot at this. And I think I showed last week Nicholas Van Pooker's new Chopin directed disc on Night Dreamer. Highly recommended. Man, he plays the living hell out of that stuff. Beautiful, not a foot wrong, not a note wrong, and beautiful sound as well.
I wonder if he's talking about one of those Leinsdorf ones.
Well, Leinsdorf, yeah, I'm not a. I mean,
Yeah, because they're a little opaque sounding for a directed disc.
The problems with Sheffield is they're really hard to find in good condition because people use those to demo their, in stores.
Yeah.
They're really hard to find in almost listenable condition. They're just, they've been just played like crazy.
this is
Some of the better sounding ones are musically not that interesting, unfortunately.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the
demo.
sorry. This is the one that Christopher got. Schubert Jerome Rose Sonata in A major, cut by Stan Ricker, I believe. That's interesting. Stan Ricker doing the classical.
That one I don't have.
Jack, I see a lot of George gramophones behind you. Have you been on a buying spree lately?
No, I'm just reorganizing things and I'm finding things. And I'll show you a couple of records here, and then I'm still going to be here, but you can sign me in.
We're ready to show. We'll start with you, Jack. You had some beauties last week.
So I'm going through. This is kind of my go through and see what's there thing. All my records are on the other side of the room. But I found this at a store, and it was $28, and it's a speaker's corner of Prokofiev's Fifth. Does anybody know? I mean, is this an audiophile recording? It's Bernstein, of course, in New York.
It's highly regarded. Some of the records they've recut, some of the CBS ones with Bernstein have got a pretty good reputation. I've never heard that. I know that the New York Phil under Bernstein could be amazing, some great players, but it also could be a little bit rough and ready.
Well, Speaker's Corner does a good job on their pressings most of the time, and it's 180 gram, the whole bit, pure analog, audiophile master, all that nonsense. I figure for $28, it can't be too bad.
Did you have a listen? Did you have a listen yet?
I'm gonna listen to that tonight when we get done here. Anybody
You
know
know,
anything about
he's going to be the trumpet player on that, right? Vacchiano.
Bill Vacchiano?
Generally, those speakers corners of Columbia's do sound better than the originals for sure.
Well, yeah, the Columbias are. I'm not blown away by very few. Sound good.
They sound grainy and kind of flat. Yeah.
Well, Jim will have something to say about this one because he worked with Sir Charles Groves a lot, right, Jim?
Yeah, that's
Charlie Groves?
Yeah, that's a really good performance of the Malcolm Arnold. It's also on. I don't know if you've got the Charles Groves 30 CD box set, which has got all his stuff on. It's been released on CD, but no, that's a good recording. I mean, Charlie Groves was very good at English music. Yeah.
Look at that. That's a great record.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
I found this. This was I think that was about a $15 purchase. And then, I have to tell you, talk about, this is the last thing I'm going to show you, but I've had this for quite a while. This is the original recording.
Right.
This is on Turnabout. It's a
Yeah.
good recording. And it's got a price sticker of $9.99 up there.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a
But-
good record.
Last week, I was in my local store that doesn't know anything about our music, what we're talking about here. And they had the Analog Productions reprint of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I picked it up for $20.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And I'm dying to hear it. That's going to be tonight's limited at number 1056. I guess they numbered these.
Mm.
So that'll be what I do tonight here till about 11 o'clock when we get done. But I'm really interested to hear the Bernstein thing there because, again, Columbia and I don't get along too well.
So,
You know
so
the
Jack,
other one-
just on the CBS, that one of the issues is that they Bernstein and these recording engineers used a lot of multi mics, and particularly cardioids. So you have this same problem of the cardioid DG versus the
Right.
Decca EMI Omnis.
The
So-
directionality.
Yeah, because it's rather unfortunate that such a great conductor, a lot of his recordings, and it was actually the technology getting in the way of the performance. But I think that's why some of the reissues are
some
better, because they
articles
can correct some of those problems.
I read some articles that Von Karajan one day woke up and became an audiophile, and then he started getting his fingers in the recording and kind of screwed things up a little bit too, of what I heard. Maybe that's not a fact.
Oh, trust me, we talk about it a lot. He went in and fiddled so much, he ruined a lot of stuff. Quick question for you, my friend Scott. Let's just put you up there. That was great, Jack. Great, boy. Your records. Are
You
amazing.
can knock me out of here anytime you want.
No, you stay right there, Jack. Stay right there. Okay, this is for you, Scott.
What do you think of the Decca pressed RCA living stereos? Especially the Rubinstein plays Chopin. To be honest, here in North America, we don't see them that much. So I have very few examples. I have some of the Victrola Deccas of the RCA recordings, but I don't know. I wouldn't think that they would be as good.
Well, it's interesting. I just heard the nocturnes and the ballades.
Oh, yeah.
And I had a Rockaway 1S and I gave it to my other nephew, Keith. The playing was wonderful. It's a good recording, but it just didn't jump out off the vinyl.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, let me just, so show, Scott, while I got you up there, how about showing us some records, man?
Okay.
What do I got you here for?
Are we in the film music section or
No, let's just do your regular ones first, and then
the
we'll
vault? Okay, the
the
vault.
vault.
Okay. I chose some RCAs this time around. Some nice examples of these. This one, Eric Friedman, was a Heifetz protege, I guess.
Sure was.
Yeah.
What a great condition that cover is. Looks like brand new.
Is that a Dynagroove, Scott?
No, it's not.
Do you want to
Yeah,
talk
it's covered.
to people about Dynagroove, the effect of Dynagroove on RCAs?
Another issue.
The jacket is amazing on it. Really
It is.
This is the Brick Red label.
Armin says a killer record.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I don't know how the performance stacks up against others, but there's a Heifetz. This is the classic.
Oh, that's a fun. Is that original or reissue?
This is the reissue. I have the original too.
The way he plays the Scottish Fantasy, the last movement. Oh my God.
This is an original in shrink wrap.
Oh, I have that, but I don't have it. I don't have it in shrink wrap. Is that a reissue or original?
This is original.
Oh, wow.
I don't think it was a shaded dog.
No, I have it with the Canadian press, the very early RCA. Hey, KWD, hey, how are you? Analog Productions did a complete remaster and repress on the RCA Living Stereo series. Yeah, I think Scott's done a couple of videos, and we for sure.
Scott, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So that's still in shrink wrap. Is there a reason you haven't taken the shrink wrap off? I guess my question is it better to take it off or does it matter?
Oh, no, I normally always take it off. I don't know why I left this in shrink wrap. Maybe because it's light and it's a textured cover, and I didn't want to get it marred before I got it resleeved. These are things I haven't gotten to resleeving yet. This is a Soria series release. Usually they did the big boxes, but this was kind of a slipcase design they did. And Heifetz, Piatigorsky. So this has a plain red label for the Soria series and a booklet, which is nice. Those are cool.
Wouldn't it be nice if some of these reissues started using slip boxes instead of these big things?
Yeah, I just talked about that on my last video.
Yeah.
It was for Isaac Hayes' Hot Buttered Soul, the craft.
Yeah.
The craft reissue is gorgeous, though. Those slipcases are really nice, and they're very, very thin.
I love the craft case. It's beautiful.
That's the way to go.
Then we have this.
Oh, that's the Rubinstein that the gentleman we're talking about.
That's great.
There's conducting. Just hold that up a second, Scott.
I cannot pronounce the conductor.
You know who's conducting that?
I can't
You know the caller in London, Stanislav Skrudovsky. Yeah, true. It's so mean. Oh, that's a great record.
Yeah.
That's a knockout. Is that a reissue or is that original?
This is original. I don't think there is a reissue. This is a shaded dog.
That Poulenc is an amazingly dynamic record.
Yeah, I love that piece. And this sonically is not that great, but I do like the cover. This one's in shrink too.
And Richt is incredible.
This one I'd never ever seen anywhere. It's not something I really, love, but
wow,
kind of modern.
You got some killer records there, Scott.
$4.99. I think I got it for $1. That's in shrink wrap too. Wow.
$1. Oh, God.
Why is it rare?
Well, just the music is amazing, and the Juilliard play it brilliantly.
It's got to be pretty rare because I've never seen it in years. And this one.
Oh yeah,
right.
Juilliard is the top performance of that piece.
Yeah, that's a good one too. And I found two later Mercuries that probably not many people have seen. They don't have the splashy covers of the earlier ones, but this is.
Oh.
Yeah. Hanson McDowell Suite. And that's the first recording of that. And this is McDowell in
Charles Griffiths.
The Pleasure Dome of Kubla Khan.
Yeah, it's his biggest piece.
Yeah.
Incredible,
So
Scott.
those are pretty rare. That's it for the vault stuff.
Man.
Yeah, I'm gonna just show a couple of records that I got. 3 of them today. I forget who the inspiration for buying these were, but it could have been Armour and it could have been Scott, one of the two. This is Rimsky-Korsakov's. It's got a great repertoire. Till the Sultan, which is beautiful. May Night, Russian Easter Festival Overture, which is fantastic. Not first choices for all 3, but the Swiss Romande. Some of the playing, intonation. If you want to get a Russian Easter Festival, get the reference compact disc. Cerebrier, interesting conductor. But the London Philharmonic, it's magnificent performance. And the Tale of Tsar Sultan, get the LSO on Shaded Dog with the Borodin Symphony No. 2. It's remarkable playing. This is very good. It's London Wideband and Jim, what kind of record is this? It's a blue bag. My wife knows what a blue bag is now. Yeah, beautiful.
Anthony, where did you find that? Did you buy that?
Yeah, I get everything on eBay because I insist. I send them a note. I'm going to hold you to this if it's near mint because I've had so many bad.
Well, I got to tell you, I stay away from. I've had such bad luck on eBay. Maybe it's just me.
I have some preferred sellers. I've had a disaster on Discogs.
Yeah.
Near mint, tip top shape, and that's absolute crap.
You probably get to know who you're buying from too. And
I've been very lucky.
Yeah.
This is I got 3 today, all flat, great sound. Near mint. This is the one that Scott. I think Scott showed us this one.
Yeah.
Vienna Phil, Joseph Cripps with the Vienna Phil. Again,
Wow, that's in much better shape than mine.
wide band, and of course the beautiful blue hue, which I just love. I'm not sure who. I mean, I've known about bluebacks for years, of course, but I didn't really know about them. And I saw almonds, and they were incredible. And then, of course, Scott's been showing me. Now, since Scott did that beautiful video on Mercury's, my Mercury's that I've ordered, because I ordered a lot of stuff that he does straight away. Because Scott's my hero. So this is interesting. This is Eastman. Howard Hansen did a lot of American.
Oh,
And
I don't have that.
I know you do, Scott.
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't have that. Well, sucks to be
No.
you, buddy. No.
I'm jealous.
I'll save it for you when you come to visit. Your sweet's waiting. So Howard Hansen, Eastman Rochester Orchestra, interesting music. Ken Kennan wrote a few flutes. This is quite nice. Bernard Rogers, I didn't know. William Bergsma, professor at Juilliard. Lovely music. Nothing to write home about, but it's nice. But the recording is great, and the playing. This orchestra, man, where have you been all my life? Again, it's a Indianapolis first pressing.
Anthony,
Yes, sir.
one thing I wanted to remind you about buying those Mercuries is look on the back. It should have a color. The printed part, aside from the printed part, should be in color on the early pressings.
Now you tell me. I will.
So just show me the back.
I'll look at. I've got another couple coming. This is absolutely magnificent.
Oh yeah,
Recorded in the Ford Auditorium in Detroit, just as barn dry as. So there's not much of a reverb on this recording, but the playing is magnificent. Charles Brown, if he ever comes up, Charles, come up, has taught me about Paul Paray and how incredible he was. And this was about $25, and it's just mint.
nice.
And just the most beautiful performance. The speed, my God, Jim, remember we did the Spring Symphony with Bernard? And he took it, and it's like, my God, but he really takes, what does that mean to you, Scott? Yeah.
The color picture on the back, sometimes in the later ones, they're black and white.
This is equally wonderful.
Yeah.
The Rhenish Symphony, Paray again, the Detroit Symphony. Again, an absolutely beautiful Indianapolis maroon. Mint, I mean, basically silent.
Wow. Good for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys are inspirations. I remember one of the gentlemen last week said in the comments on the rerun, said, "You guys are costing me so much money." That's it. That's it for me. Does anybody have any other records to show? I know we're gonna.
I've got some records.
Okay, great, Jim. Let's go.
Okay.
Poor Carl. Poor Carl. Yeah, I guess you have been record shopping on your anniversary and.
No, but actually, I'm fishing around for some, a classical concert or something to see tomorrow or Saturday here in Singapore.
Well, I thought as we've been talking about opera tonight, I'll show a couple of operas that you might find interesting. This is an original Columbia, Troilus and Cressida, conducted by William Walton, with Schwarzkopf and Richard Lewis.
Oh wow!
There
we go. Just move it back a little bit. There we go. But perfect.
I picked this up for 99 cents in an Oxfam shop.
Is that is that a 10-inch, Jim?
No, it's 12-inch.
Oh, you got a full 12-inch there, do you, bud?
Yeah. And actually, while we're talking about Decca, Ace of Clubs, and Ace of Diamonds. I picked this up. It's virtually mint
Oh
condition.
man!
The cover is a bit tatty, but Fistulari and the LSO, marvelous.
Gustav Mahler's son-in-law.
Another original Columbia of Walton Belshazzar's Feast.
Oh yeah.
Conducted by Walton. It's the Philharmonia Chorus and Orchestra. But it's
Beautiful.
original. You can see the Columbia thing. And then a few interesting, two interesting things. I don't know if I haven't shown this before. Thomas Beecham, Balakirev Symphony No. 1 in C.
Oh man!
Wow.
And that's HMV Concert Classics from 1972, because it's got written on the back, whoever bought it in 1972. But it's a really good symphony. I've never seen that anywhere at all. And then to finish off, there's Beecham doing Tchaikovsky 4 with the RPO. I think one of the last records that he actually made. It's quite a good performance as well. And finally, I thought this was really interesting. Liszt's Dante Symphony with Boris Kaikin and the Bolshoi Theatre Orchestra and Chorus. I don't know if you all know this, Pete. I didn't know it at all till I bought this record.
What label is that, Jim? At RCA?
The Melodia. Well, it's HMV Melodia Concert Classics. So, you know. And then very finally, a very strange disc of Kodai. It's a Hungarian pressing of Kodai doing Concerto for Orchestra and Summer Evening with the Budapest Philharmonic. I mean,
Did you get all these at the charity shop?
Yes, I got them all the time.
Bloody hell! I'm not sure. I think Jack and Jim go to the best stores.
Well, I don't know about that. In Tennessee, they don't know anything about what they haven't discovered this great music yet.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
You get them all. I mean, Jim's getting them for $1.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I think what we'll do, guys, I'm going to just answer some more questions. We'll keep the film music till next week. What happens? We always run out of time. If you don't mind, guys, if you don't mind to like and subscribe, and also if you can maybe think about 5 of your favorite film scores. I know that Scott mentioned something about a film score earlier, and we'll save that one for next week. Scott did have Joey says, oh no, that's not it. Hang on, there it is. Joey wants your collection, Scott. No kidding. And then Scott says, Anthony, I read in season that Schulte, that principal flute Donald Peck, modified the head joint of his flute with platinum and gold to give more brilliance in the renovated orchestra hall. I will tell you, Scott, I played 18 karat flutes, 24. I played platinum flutes, and I played a white gold flute. Don't like white gold, the one I played, Jeannie Backstresses. I played a platinum flute. I played Jimmy Galway's platinum flute with the diamond on the end. Very difficult to play because of the density. Question for you, Scott. Who wrote a piece based on Georges Barré's flute density? A very famous composer. But I prefer silver, Britannia silver, and 18 karat gold. Lovely flutes. But they do platinum projects. But of course, Donald Peck could stick it up his nose and project. So he's an incredible player. And then he says, wonderful books, Jim. Yeah. The Bucks, Stefan asked, Jim, is that a Hungariton? He says Hungariton. I assume you mean Hungariton.
It's Qualitum.
Yeah. And cranberry sauce, Jack, I think it is. I think it's another great
made in Hungary. Yeah, it's a Hungarian label. Qualiton, Hungarian label.
Right, yeah, another great series of presentations. Keep them coming. Thanks. Does anybody have any other, not film records? Scott and I have got that organized, and we'll do that next week, I promise. Just hang on a sec, Carl. I'm so sorry, Carl. We've not, I mean, you've been you be kind of cut into your lovely celebration with your wife. You're going to go to the store tomorrow to the Adelphi Mall, is it?
I think today I'm going to do that. Yeah.
Oh, what time is it there?
Oh, it's only right now 9:25 in the morning.
Oh yeah, okay.
So the mall doesn't open for that sort of thing till about 10 or 11. So I have plenty of time.
Oh, great, wonderful. There was a fellow who
But I
used
had-
to do YouTube videos from Singapore. Really charming guy, and he would speak very quickly and do cartridge comparisons, and he stopped. He just, like a lot of people, they get burned out right on YouTube. So it's a shame because but he's from Singapore.
I remember him. I remember
Sorry?
I remember his videos. Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
he's a
good.
great guy.
Yeah.
And he had his wife and his little dog, and they used to go around. But anyway, have a wonderful time, Carl. And
Sure.
and
I just have a quick question for James. I need to ask him a question for James. Jim, I had a chance to see a concert here. It's vocals. It's but they're from the UK. They're known as the Tallis Scholars.
Oh yeah, very good.
Music for the Sistine Chapel. Oh, they're playing tomorrow, I think twice during the day, and it's not that far from where I'm staying. If I can get tickets, I might go see it.
Is it conducted by Peter Phillips?
Let's see here. What does it say? It doesn't mention that. Let's see. Wait a minute. No, they just mentioned the pieces that they're playing, but they don't
One
say
of the finest groups of its type in the
Can't
world
find that
for
information.
the last 30 years. Great recordings. And then they did who was the composition teacher at Trinity Gym? You wore the white cape and the white Rolls Royce. Oh, John Tavener.
John Tavener,
yeah, John. Yeah, and they did a recording of John Tavener's music, which is exquisite. It's very beautiful.
They mentioned Palestrina, Misa, Pape, Marcelli as one piece they're going to be playing. But
no,
they don't say anything else.
That's the
Allegri's iconic.
Yeah.
Me.
That'll be wonderful.
If you can get to that concert, go, Carl.
Yeah.
It'll be amazing.
Full review next week, Carl.
Yeah.
Full review next week. Anyway, guys.
It's live tomorrow.
Anyway, if you can think about 5 film scores, that would be great for next week. I think we've got some lovely, the comments have been great. Stefan said, thanks all. Thank you, Stefan, for those great questions. And for everybody who came on tonight, Jack, it's always so great to see you. Jack and I had an interesting conversation on the comments this week. And
yeah,
Jack,
let me address that for a minute.
Well, please do.
What's great about what Anthony does and Scott and there's a couple other people. You guys are very, very serious audiophiles that really love the music, and you don't
we do it for a living as well. Remember?
Yeah,
we do both.
But you don't let the gear get in the way of appreciating and the music. So many people do, and they think. I think you know where I'm going with this. I'm not going to.
Jack, we call those audio.
Really,
very young. I don't know if you remember, Jack, when you were really young, and me, it's far back. But I'd go into stores. Angie, for example, who was on last week, kind of helped me and guided me, and she was so kind and let me listen to stuff. But it's aspirational stuff.
Yep.
Well, I mean, the only reason I have those things behind me is because I've got 1 million visitors a year to Audiophilia, right? Yeah. Otherwise, Lars, who's an amazing guy and a friend of mine, would like, sorry, Anthony, enjoy your $500 speakers, right? So I'm very, very fortunate, and that's the only reason. Otherwise, but if I didn't have these speakers, I'd go slowly. And
but Anthony, if you had $120,000 a pair Wilsons in back of you, I don't think you'd enjoy the music. You enjoy the music for what it is.
Oh no, the music. Look, I wrote down.
So appreciate
what he said, and I'll let people read it because I find it too embarrassing as an Englishman and crying to talk about it. But I will tell you that if you've done it, Jack. You chose music as a career at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Music, Paula Robeson, a great flute teacher at New England Conservatory. You don't choose music. Who the hell would choose music as a career? There's no money, right? Music chooses you. I picked up the flute in grade 7. I knew what I wanted to be. It was like a thunderbolt. Jim started violin and viola early, right, Jim?
Yeah, I was 7,
started
8.
playing in
Yeah.
youth orchestras. We knew what we wanted to be. I had no choice. I'm glad it worked out because I can't do anything else, right? So when people say to me, all you listen to is gear. Well, of course I listen to gear. I want to listen to the very best. If I'm doing wine, I want to drink the best wine. If I'm driving a BMW, I want to drive the best BMW. But I choose small things and then try and get the best. And so what I decided, with all this expensive equipment, how do I get this equipment? I'm going to start my own magazine. And that's what I did when it was Usenet. Do you remember Usenet back in the dark ages? And then people said, "Oh yeah," and we started getting a name. We went to places. People said, "Get the hell out of here! Who the hell are you?" And you have to start slowly, and then all of a sudden, and then I met Carl about almost 20 years ago now, and other people, and we're all of the same mind. We love gear, we love music, but it's self-evident. So people, when they say, "Jack, I want you to use this carefully," it's about the music, stupid, and do mugs with it. And so, I'm going to be honest with you. It's a bad word. It's horseshit. Because we're listening to Beethoven, Brahms, Mozart, Gesualdo, we're listening to the greatest artists in life. It's self-evident. Of course, it's about the music. And there's 500 recordings of Beethoven's Fifth to choose from. We need to research it. So if I'm listening to the Beatles, I have the Beatles in mono right there. I don't really need to buy another copy. I could, and I could maybe hear the difference. But I've got a pretty great copy of all the Beatles records. But when I'm listening to, the ones I showed tonight, or the ones you did, about Charlie Groves, right? There's 5 or 6 recordings of even those Malcolm Arnold pieces. So that's why when, of course, it's people, they call them audiophiles. They're just chasing, they want to their next piece of equipment. That's silly, right? And some things some things most stuff I couldn't afford. It's just, I'm very fortunate in being in that position, but it's the way it is. And when I was young and I went to people's houses and I saw great equipment, I was jealous. It's okay to be jealous and to be aspirational. But anyway, about the music, that's why. So when people say to me, not you, Jack, because I know you feel the same way we do, but they say, it's all about the music. Well, and it's always like a shot at audiophiles. I find that kind of
you know what it's like, Anthony? It's like when you hear the professional athlete that just signed a $10 million contract. And he says, it's really not about the money. Always the money.
Look at the smile on my face.
And I have to tell you, I have a room back here full of camera gear that I didn't pay for. And I know where you're coming from. It's.
There's my angel, Angie, who does weight out. Let me tell you something, Jack. Next time you're in Toronto, you go see my girl Angie, and you go to her. And I reviewed her Lyra speakers. They're made in Maine by Andy Payer and Josh Clark. They're magnificent. They're $190,000. Even if Angie was in a great mood, they're still going to cost me $110,000. I can't afford them, but they're amazing, right? They're aspirational. And I was thinking, my God, it would be lovely to have them. I can't have them. It's okay. It's okay. Anyway, hi Angie. By the way, Angie, you were a big hit last week, and the feedback. I know you're getting ready to go to Dallas, but we want you back up here again very soon. Anyway, so Jack, it was great to have that conversation with you earlier in the week. I don't want to come off being too obnoxious about it, but it's
no. I just appreciate
having a mug and it's about the music and Beatles forever. Oh, screw that. You can have everything. Scott's in the middle of looking for speakers, right, Scott?
Right.
And he's got a budget. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Scott, how do you buy speakers when you can't listen to them in your house?
Well, it's difficult. Fortunately, I can listen to some because I have a dealer that will bring them over. But they're mostly used speakers that have been traded in, I have to take a chance with recommendations. So I'm picking Anthony's brain and anyone else I can trust.
Yeah.
You see,
Also, I will tell you, Jack. I'm sure Scott won't mind me saying is that Scott is now an adjunct member of Audiophilia, and so as an adjunct member of Audiophilia, there are perks. Absolutely,
As you should be. And it's so deserved.
I'm sorry, Jack. One more time.
It's so deserved.
Well, Scott's an amazing guy. We've become very close friends in a very short period of time. I admire him greatly at what he does, and if I can get him some speakers at a good price, because I have friends in the business, I'm going to do it if that's what he wants, right? But you've got to get something that looks good aesthetically to you and is going to sound good. But there's 5,000 manufacturers, Jack, and they're all desperate for eyes on. Anyway, guys, I will tell you another fabulous show. We do a rundown and we got through half of it. So that's good. Because sometimes at the beginning, I'm like skating, like, oh boy, are we going to have enough time are we going to have enough room to do all the stuff?
enough
So
material.
we'll do some more next week. Scott, what are you coming up this week?
Speakers.
Oh, I don't know yet. It's a big mystery.
Oh, well, you gave us a little hint about one of the videos coming up.
Yeah, maybe.
Jim,
maybe.
Are you recovering? Is your bank balance recovering from eating in Paris 4 times a day?
It'll take a couple of weeks. I'll get Klemperer up on the sticks for next week if you want.
We got to do the Klemper. I'm so sorry, Jim. I feel
That's
bad
all right.
because he's in Singapore, and Jim, we'll do the Klemper box. And I know people like to see records, and I've got some film records, and I will show you one just to show Scott the one that I wanted to show him.
I kind of figured it was that one.
Do you have that one, Scott?
Yeah, it's in my stack right here.
Well, that's a great record. Anyway, we could talk about Bernard Herrmann and all the great composers, Korngold. Jim and I, when we were young, we listened to those records for how many hours, Jim?
Well, here's the old,
there it is, the big box. Well, we're going to talk about that. So film music next time. To the Peanut Gallery, we can't do this without you. So I really appreciate it. It was Loki Tio. Fantastic to see you tonight. I know that you're over in England, and Stefan, you're up late in South Africa. We really appreciate it, and all the guys. And Joey.
Yeah.
Great show. Thank you so much. Thank you, Joey, for showing up. Great, guys. So I'm going to hang up the stream. Just hang on for a second while I say goodbye to you guys. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.